Everybody, welcome back to another episode of DFS Fantasy NASCAR Picks. I'm just about your 31. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and just a reminder that I said it would be free. So here's what you do: go to the description of the video. There's a link to our Discord. Get in there. There's a free room called NASCAR Pool. Drop in there, and well, the I'm posting the sheet, any updates in there, and maybe I'll throw out all the cores in there today just as a celebration to fathers. But stay in there because it's a great way to be able to ask questions, especially if I don't have a video. Sometimes I throw content in there to help you out. Um, and just trying to create a little bit of a free community. If you sub, you get many more perks and my first attention. But if I have some time left over before lock, then I try to jump into the NASCAR pool free room to try to help out anybody that has any questions. So, uh, Mexico City race, and if you didn't watch the Xfinity video or the Xfinity race, then I'll try to catch you up a little bit here. It is a track in Mexico City that is a road course. It's got like 14 turns in it. It's got the second longest straightaway in NASCAR. It's got a little bit of uphill. It's got one really hairpin turn towards the end where it goes kind of into a stadium for spectators to watch before you hit that final straightaway or beginning straightaway, however you want to look at it. I think it's out of like turn one. But anyways, um, so like you have to like really be good on the brakes. This track is at high altitude, so it is at what 7,000 miles or kilometers or feet or however it's measured above sea level. Whereas like Las Vegas is the nice one in America. It's only like 1,000 and change. So it's going to reduce horsepower. It's going to reduce drag, which means that straight line speed is going to be faster, but it's also going to cause brakes and engines not to cool as much, and it's going to be harder to accelerate with the loss of horsepower. Now, Fords have had more horsepower this season, so Chevys and Toyotas made some adjustments to cool their engine and tried to get some more horsepower in the cars, and so I think Ford has a little bit of an advantage here. So how do you want to play this out here? On a road course, it's kind of like a super speedway. You're looking for place differential and finishing position. It's risky to play the drivers up top. I do have dominators up there, but dominators don't mean anything because there's not enough laps here really for anybody unless they lead the whole thing to make enough dominator points to really set themselves apart and be in an optimal lineup. So the ones that I have as the purple dominators are ones that I think have a really good chance to win. And if you look at the orange dominators, those are kind of dark horses that I think have a chance to win. Not necessarily what you want to play in cash at all. Maybe in GPP if you want to try to nail the winner like you do at a super speedway, then I think that's fine. But you don't want to go all the way down to the bottom here because you have some really, really um, questionable cars. And in Xfinity, we saw brakes blow out because they're heating up more. And if people don't know how to use them as well, it could cause issue, broken axles. Just like this was really rough on the cars now. This next gen car is a little bit different. Remember, it was a road course car designed to drive on super speedways versus the Xfinity, which are oval track cars, which are trying to drive on a road course. So hopefully they'll hold up a little bit better. But I always worry about like in these cup cars with the back toe links and stuff easily seem to break with that independent suspension that they have versus the Xfinity one. It helps with the driving experience on road courses, but I feel that they break so much easier than in Xfinity. So if you look on the board here, the sheet, the baby blue drivers' names, if you're new to this, are ones that are proficient at road course driving. It doesn't mean everybody else is abysmal. It just means that and doesn't mean that these are elite. It just means that they're better than average. And we've been running so many road courses that like it used to only be like a handful of names, and now it's like over half the field. And it's just because they're getting better at it, and next gen car has helped them become a little bit better at it. If you look at the start, you see more colors over there. We're not to the playoffs yet, but we are starting to get to the point where the green are drivers that already have a win that are locked in. The beige ones are in the top 12 in points and should be safe, especially Elliott and Reddick. Briscoe and Wallace are a little bit further down, but I think they should still be good. And the yellow ones are ones that are um, need some points. And I think the white ones pretty much need a win to get in. But they still got a little bit to go. But why I'm saying this is that yellow ones, we're going to have to watch over the next couple weeks and see what their strategy is. If they're starting back in the field, they might change up their pit strategy to what we call short pit, which is pitting before the end of a stage break, to go out and be able to get track position. Hopefully, the what you want to try to do is you want to try to hold the track position, and it helps you have a shot for the win. The ones that don't need to do that have a little bit of advantage, but the ones that do that are in yellow might try to stay out to the end of the stage to get those valuable stage points to try to their chances of making the playoff if they're not going to have a win. And again, I don't know if that's going to play out if they're in the back of the field. Of course, they're probably going to go with the strategy to try to get track position over stay out for stage points, but we'll have to see how it shakes out over the next couple weeks. Their thing is they have like an in-season tournament going on. I don't know how much momentum that has. I'm not really gonna look at too much of the details. It's kind of probably like the Dash for Cash that you see in like the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. Where it's just a little extra incentive for the drivers, but I don't know if it's really going to change the force in DFS, so I'm not going to go too far into it. If I see it making a difference in the next couple of weeks of videos, I'll dive more deep into it. So that's what we have for the field. So uh practice was they had one session and then the second session, then they had rain, so it got finished early, and there was that qualifying. It was a new track to a lot of them, and like a lot of them were struggling. It's like a lot of cars hit walls. Like Gregson destroyed his car, um, so you'll have to see what I think practice like was a little bit helpful, but there are some cars like especially some of the Fords that looked really bad the first practice, and I think they figured out some adjustments and got out there for the second. Especially the Penske's looked much better, but I wasn't gonna throw practice data up there just because I just didn't feel like it was like super accurate in telling us what we need to know. So we're going to look at kind of how they've done on road courses in the past and like pretty much look at I think on an even playing field here you got to look at like place differential for most of the drivers that you want to play in cash games. So Shane Van Gisbergen is probably going to win this race. He's a fast car. He's very good here, understands the braking and everything. But and on FanDuel, awesome play. But on DK, if unless in the GPP, unless you're picking the winner strategy and then trying to get five place differential, so you want to get like the one finishing position. There's so much that could go wrong here with these cars breaking or having it like Zillage had a really good car and was dominant most of the day, but then ended up, I think, falling his way back to fifth in the Xfinity race. But still, it could be very dangerous for some of these cars starting up top here. So, like I said, on FanDuel, go for it. And DK, if you're doing it, I'd do it as a GPP strategy. Priest is a fade. I just like congratulations for starting up here. Not super proficient at road courses. I know I said the Fords have some horsepower. Mm, super dark horse, but I just can't see in DFS playing. Chastain also has some fast car and has done really well, so I think has some upside here potentially too, and saves you a little on um, Shane, but Shane's priced the way he is just because he's just been so good. Gibbs ran the Xfinity race, and so he's got some more experience here. Could get his first win. So if that's something to maybe consider if you're doing props. But for DFS, I think it's again if you're doing like a 20 max and taking, I wouldn't even need to do a 20 max. I maybe like if you wanted to take like all six of these doms and upside doms as the winner. And again, this is like FanDuel, you want to play the cars up here, and I think you've got some really good pricing on it. And I think Gillian comes into play a lot too at his price point. So you can build up here, but you really don't want to do it on DK. So McDowell, I think his really had some great success on road courses, and he looked good and seemed to understand it and the braking everything. And I think for some reason people are going to have some high ownership on him just because how he looked in practice and it's like previous road courses, but I just don't think that he's there enough. I think people are going to look at like Gibbs and McDowell, and if they don't understand it, look at the price point and think that they're really getting, and maybe even Priest to agree, getting like a super good value up here. And that's why I think the ownership is going to be higher than it needs to if they don't kind of understand the strategy that you probably should be going for here. And maybe I'm completely wrong, and I'll admit it next week in the video if I am, but I just think that this is an area where if you're doing like an optimizer, you want like 0 to 1 in this like top 10 group here. Larson, again, there's a little bit of place differential here for 5 if he gets up there. And again, you don't need him to lead laps pay off his price tag, but it is a pretty hefty price tag. And I just it's really I just don't think he can get up above 4, which is what I'm usually looking for. Now it's a loose track and grip when the tires wear down. It starts to the cars start to get looser and like for this dirt experience and stuff that falls right into his wheelhouse. And they should do really well here, but I feel like McDowell and Chastain and Van Ginsberger are more solid choices. Gillian's kind of stuck in the middle here because I think that he's got some upside and has some speed. Uh, I just don't think. I think he's perfect on FanDuel as like the value play to try to get some of the rest of these guys up here that for finishing position because that's what you really want. Place differential helps, but finishing position helps more. So, but I wouldn't necessarily play on DK. And Allmendinger, I think he's gonna be chalky because he's been so good at road courses, but he didn't really look great in practice here. So a little bit concerned with this road course, but I think overall where he'll get it, like he understands the braking. I think he'll take care of his brakes. And I know it was the one race with a colleague where like all the brakes exploded, and he was one of them. But I think that was more like they got a bad lot of parts over uh, like the drivers doing anything wrong. So, but starting eighth, like he doesn't have like a ton of upside. Joey Logano starting ninth here. It's going to be our first 10K driver. And if you're taking a shot in the top GPP, I really want to start with him because, as my boy Richie has always said, like, if you look back, if it's a new track, like the Clash, and when they like first ran it, like several, I think maybe north of Wilkesboro, he always is seems to figure out and win, and they do cool things with pit strategies. He has the win, so he can short pit to get the track position up there. And he's only 7K. And like I said, the Penske Fords figured out some speed. They have the horsepower. I think that definitely is like a dark horse here to and the dark horse Mustang to really win. Whereas you're gonna be shocked to kind of see the GPP on here, but I know he went from last to first after having a crash and won the Xfinity race, and it was a great feel good made for TV moment. And his home track here, returning to Mexico. I don't know if he can do it against this competition here. And he seemed to struggle in this car during practice. So there's upside there, but I don't think I'm going to play him. I think that uh, maybe the ownership might be high on him unless everybody else is kind of seeing what. He's starting too far forward. He seemed to struggle more here, even though he wrecked the Xfinity car. He wrecked that in qualifying, not in because he forgot that the brakes, not in Cup. But I just think he and maybe the Xfinity race helped because I think what the issue was is he remembered this track um differently and they shortened it up and they made it a little bit different. And I think that the muscle memory kind of took over and where he thought he knew like how to navigate some of the corners, it wasn't like that anymore. So we'll see what happens there, but I don't think I'll be playing him. Kyle Busch, I might throw in like one lineup here as a GPP just because he has won here like in Xfinity in 2008, like years ago. Um, so it just seems the kind of track. Like I toyed with him being a 100K driver, but I really like the Penske stack here. So if you're playing like multiple GPPs, then make sure Kyle Busch is in a couple of them. Probably at the same thing here. I think he'll have high ownership just because he's a popular driver. And I think it's the whole fear of missing out thing is that like you've got a great team and a great driver. Why isn't it adding up? I don't want to miss out in the week that it all comes together. This might be the week. It wasn't the last 50 times I said this, but not me personally, but the people that keep playing Chase Elliott. So I think that he'll have high ownership and I think he's got a shot at it. But again, I really want to pay if I want to get in this range, give me $200, $400 more for like Reddick or Byron with the place differential that they have. Barry and Jones and Burps, like they're almost all fades. I put GBP on Barry just because he is one of the not really proficient on road courses, but he does have a Ford that's tied to the Penske, so he might have some upside there. He has the win, so he could have the strategy. Jones, I mean, this probably should be a fade over a GPP. I think I gotta change that. Now that I really think about it, I just don't see any upside there. Bushier is the first cash play here, and I think he's going to have high ownership. He's a Ford. He looked really good in practice. The horsepower really sound. So, and 16th, I really wanted to start like 20th before I started thinking about the cash plays, but I think that he's fine here. Haley, no. Um, he's about to lose his blue tag because like recently his speeds on the road courses have been like some of the lowest in NASCAR Cup. So I'll have to keep an eye on him. Like he's borderline losing his proficiency tag. So that's going to be a fade for me. Blaney's not necessarily a road course guy, but he has the horsepower. He's decent. He can stay out of trouble. And I don't think he's an place car. I think he can get like 8 places and get into the top 10. Just and he's got the win, so he can short pit and play strategy games. So I like pairing him with Logano and Cindric for the 100K lineup. Briscoe, I think super solid. I always said he knows how to shift the car. He has had multiple poles recently. He's had speed. Like it just all hasn't added up in the race, but I think with starting 19th first on the pole, I think some of that upside starts to come out, and I think he's going to have some high ownership, and I think that he'll be pretty solid here. Cindric, and my final 100K one also showed some speed here. Has been really good on road courses back to his Xfinity days where he's battling with Grigson and Allgaier and Gibbs in some classic finals. So I really like the upside here. And another 100K. You can play all three of them in the lineup, or you can mix and match them in if you're doing like a 20 max, like throw the solid constellation, throw one of the 100K ones in there, however you want to do it. But I really like the Penske stack for the GPP. Austin Dillon's a fade, not good at road courses at all. Uh, Reddick, I think is a cash play here. I think I'll have high ownership. Uh, didn't have the speed that I necessarily was looking for, but it wasn't like so slow that it's super concerning to me. So gonna give him the cash tag here. He's got some place differential. He's in the sweet spot under 20, and yeah, I think he's got enough points that if he wants a short pit, that he can definitely get the track position for that. Kosovar, I'm a little bit concerned here, potentially going for stage points, but I think he's a cash play. He's got the second highest X value point per dollar here, if my projection is correct. So I think he's solid for cash at 75. Zane Smith is good on road courses, but didn't, and he's got a Ford. And I toyed with him in cash, but I like when I looked at the cash, like you can't put like cash sums on it. I tried to limit to about 10, and he was like the odd man out. So if you're looking for like an extra cash play, if you end up in this like 6K range, like you're not gonna play, you're not gonna play Barry. Uh, Buster's like kind of just because he has a Ford. Like I think you can potentially play him if he's last man in cash. Bubba Wallace isn't necessarily good on road courses, but again, he could short pit here. He's gotten better in this next gen car. He's not quite to getting the blue yet, but I think you play him cash. Cole Custer has had a horrible season, but his speed here was adequate for what I'm looking for cash play at 5,600. If you need some value in your lineup, and I think there's cars that are like so much worse than him and drivers, and I don't think if he falls, he's going to fall too far down to hurt you. And I think he's got enough floor to be like a baseline cash play. Byron is going to be a prime play here. Definitely good at road courses. Definitely can go with the strategy, probably the short pit to get track position, and should be able to get through the field and take care of the car and have a solid finish. Ty Dillon, GPP down here. Collie cars have been traditionally good in the road courses, and he's one that we really kind of usually play as a punt. I kind of prefer if you had 200 more dollars, and it feels weird to say this, go with John Hunter Nemechek, but Ty Dillon, if you already have Nemechek in your lineup, you're trying to do some weird thing and getting a lot of really expensive cars in there. Um, if you're trying to build like down here with like a Reddick, Byron, Bell, and then going up to Van Ginsbergen and Larson, and I don't even know if that's possible financially to get those much guys in there, and you need some punts, then definitely play him over Ware and Leggy. Uh, Bowman, solid cash play down here also with upside. I just worry. I toyed with putting him as the prime, but I wanted value first of all, and then secondly, I mean he's not too expensive, so 77 would have sufficed for that. I'm just worried about like the pain from the back. He took a hard hit last week, head on into the wall, and I just worry it's going to affect the performance. So I think he's solid for cash, but I couldn't like list him as one of the three prime plays based on that. Kozlowski, the same thing. Like he over Grayson, I think would make a. I think he's gonna be super high owned, but like he's not great at the road courses. The Fords have horsepower. He did show some speed out there, just not in qualifying. He just looks lost this year. I just don't know if it's like, and we talked about this with like Jordan Anderson and some of the other like people that are involved in the ownership of a team and are trying to drive also. Is it too much of a distraction? All the media, PR stuff, management stuff that you have to do in the course of the week and just not being able to just focus on the track. And is that what's kind of wearing Brad Keselowski down, where he can't put together like great races, where he's obviously has a talent and the cars aren't half bad? So, but I think you can play him in cash here. Val definitely, he had like uh, some issues in Xfinity, but he was out there far and enough, to he had DNF, but I don't think it was necessarily his fault. But he was able to get extra laps out there. And I think that'll definitely help. It didn't look great in first practice, but I think he was making a little bit progress in the second one before it got shortened. And prime play is going to be chalky. Definitely one that should be able, has multiple wins, should be able to get up there, playing pit strategy, short pitting, and should definitely have a solid day. John Hunter Nemechek and Ricky Stenhouse are not necessarily good road course guys, but what I saw out there in practice and qualifying didn't really concern me. They didn't have the speed of a turtle, and I think that they definitely are, if they can stay out there and keep clean cars, they have the floor you're looking for in Couch and solid building blocks to go with, to try to swing for the fences and get some of these higher priced guys in your lineup. Cody Ware, super slow, way beyond the rest of the field, so not playing him at all. I question even though these cars have parity, I question the holding up and making it through the whole race, especially with what we saw with the attrition and Xfinity mechanically. Noah Gragson, prime play here. Had to start towards the back because wrecked the car, and they used the qualifying as like an additional practice because he didn't have much practice because of the wreck in practice. So definitely this car and driver and road course and aggression and understands the braking everything too. And it'll take some chances, which might end up off the course, but I think solid prime play. If he gets up 25th, I think that's the minimum that we could ask for, but I think he could potentially do a little bit better than that. Truex didn't put GPP down here. It just looked really slow. Like great equipment and everything filling in for Denny, but I just don't think that and I know I saw on on X that and then he said he might be like there tapping him on the shoulder, saying like, hey guys, I made it. After the birth of his third child. But I think it's just joking and sarcasm. I don't think he's really going to show up in the race mid-race and take over for Truex if he's not doing well. And he got the waiver for everything. So this is just a race for Truex to go out there and try to get the win. But I just don't see it happening. And I just, from his speeds of practice and stuff, I just don't think I think the price is good for Joe Gibbs' car, and that's why I have a GPP and not a fade on it. But I'm just not really feeling solid about it. And then Leggy was just so far behind everybody in speed and everything. I get it that she's like trying to get exposure in the series and trying to make a name for herself, and is incrementally making progress in the other series, which means that she's getting better little by little by little, but nothing, nowhere to the point where I want to spend money to put her in a DFS lineup this weekend. So, this is what I got for you. If you have any questions, put them in the chat below. Hit me in my Row 31 on X Twitter or get into the Discord NASCAR pool free room and you can ask questions there. If these videos help us back, like, subscribe to the channel, and share with your friends. And if you want more information on FSide DFS, then go to the description video also, get into the Discord, and you can see. And just go to the website and check out our pricing package. It's really cheap. If you want to play DFS for the whole day for all the sports, it's $6. We're continuing to ramp up the coverage of NBA and NHL playoffs. Kurt has WNBA content, which is hard to find out there, and he's like one of the best there. Charlie, I have to say, is one of the best in the industry for soccer coverage. You see him on top of GPPs all the time. Friendly, answers questions. Great, gives great information, and that soccer community room is just phenomenal with the talk and the chat and the camaraderie, and it's just something very special that I'm very proud of here. For the team for creating and sustaining over the years. And I have baseball too out there too. So that's what we got for you and cheap pricing. So come check it out. So thanks for watching. Happy Father's Day again. Next week we're in Poconos, so I'll try to get out as many videos as I can. I'll definitely have a cup one. We'll see about Xfinity truck. I don't know if they're there, if there's speculation on what's going on. But if I don't get a video out, then get into the Discord, into the NASCAR free pool room. And if I can't get a video out, I'll give you at least a sheet there. So thanks for watching. Good luck in your contest, and I'll see you next time.